In this screencast, I'm going to show you a JavaScript helper framework for touch events that has bailed my bacon out numerous times. It's called Hammer.js. And what it does is it adds touch gestures to anything we apply it to. So what exactly does that mean? Well, this week we've learned about clicking, on mouse over, on mouse up, on mouse down, things like that, key events. We've learned about mostly events that deal with the desktop. But in my former corporate life, I had to do a lot of work with kiosks. And Hammer.js was just one of those things that I've done that I found that would convert desktop events into necessary touch events. So to give you an example, and I'll make sure that you can see the URLs here so you can play with this on your own. But basically I can drag things, and in HTML there's actually a drag functionality. HTML5 has the ability to drag elements. But for dragging, you'll know there's an on mouse down. Well, there's also touch events on touch. So what's happening is that we are loading up Hammer.js, and it works for iPad apps specifically, but I used it for kiosks. So I'm going to show you some special documentation on this. If you look at the docs for Hammer.js, and you look at examples specifically, and it'll give you all the things on how to use what you need to use. But things like pinching, rotating, tap, double tap, press, pan, swipes, all the things that we might use on an iPad or a tablet or a kiosk itself. Basically it adds that kind of functionality for us. So these are the recognizers that it gives. It gives you the ability to pan out, to pinch, kind of the opposite of panning. The ability to press, rotate, swipe, tap, all those things are important. So this is a basic Hammer.js example. So the way to work on this is to just source it through the script. They tell you to put it near the foot, right above the closing body tag. And in this case, I have some CSS that creates this background. So let's play around a little bit. I'm going to click tap. I'm going to long press. I can pan left. I can pan right. So those are just a few of the events that we used. Now, if you look back at get starting, there's a lot more. There's pinch, rotate, as we just talked about, swiping. So here, let's take a good look at the JavaScript that does this. So this JS would be placed below the script, and this element itself is what we're working on. So what we're doing is we're getting a variable that equals document get element by ID my element. Now you know just from the past few weeks that this should be a const. Also, this should be a const. These things do not change. But this is what happens. MC.on. So when any of these events are tapped, we take our event handler and its type property and just simply output it. So my element dot text content, in other words, the text content property of my element, which equals document get element by ID my element, and ev.type is what we're grabbing. So I'm panning right, I'm tapping, I'm pressing. So the beauty of this is so darn simple. And I highly recommend you do anything, use this for anything that's like either tablet or kiosks. So let's go back to, again, the basic hammer. You source it out, and then you create a new object, a new hammer object for that element. So basically it's the detection of that. Now, I was in a situation where I had to build a kiosk for a specific acne medicine. And that acne medicine is this roll-on that you see right there. So I'm in Chrome right now, and I just used my enabler to the device toolbar here to place. I'm actually going to close this out a little bit so I can show you the functionality. So this is I want to make sure that we use iPads because it's going to change the resolution So this was for an iPad that would sit at a kiosk. So let's do this one more time. What I want to do is put this on the side. We're going to dock this on the side, and we're going to make sure that we use the iPad Pro. Then I'll just make it smaller. So what did we do on this? Well, if I click on this, it goes to an index. And this is before, and basically what we're going to be doing is swiping the screen with the stylus to see the results. So this is a swipe. It's not a drag, it's a swipe. So once I swipe it, we go back and now we see the after. This is the after. And I know it may look to you like that it's not much of an improvement, but it is. With pharmaceuticals, you've got to make sure that that everything's true to the efficacy of the pharmaceutical that you're selling. So this was one of my kiosks that I had to build, and I had to basically, I'm swiping now. There we go. Do it 3 times, and then you get the after right there, and then this loads. So there's also different edge cases, like this is the female version. And I'll go ahead and swipe this 1, 2, 3. There we go. And there's the after. And I can go to severe. Keep in mind it's going to be much better on an iPad. I'm actually in Chrome right now. But this is the severe one. And when I do this, it should load the after, and it's slightly improved. And of course, with pharmaceuticals, they give you the actual clinical trials down at the bottom. So that's all done with Hammer.js. If I go back to female, for example, you're going to see Hammer.js right here. And this is I actually did it with jQuery, and I have a drag function on it. But the Hammer.js enabled it to be detectable. So just to reiterate, you see this touch start, touch move. These are the event types. So what I was doing is binding all these events, click, touch move, touch start, to the body. So whenever things happened, it would trigger those events. So Hammer.js is great for touch events. There'll be a separate video this week that talks about the actual touch events that come from Mozilla for just traditional JavaScript. But this is a great way to get hit detection and event detection recognizers.